Isaac Newton said, "This most beautiful system of the sun, planets and comets could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent being." As Bruce Barton said, "If there is no intelligence in the universe, then the universe has created something greater than itself, for it has created you and me." God, the greatest artist and designer ever, saw everything he made and said it was very good. God also said the Jews are his witnesses, and much of prophecy is from the perspective of Israel and her neighbours. During Old Testament times, two great powers competed for control, Babylon and Egypt. God knew their future and told us their fate before it happened. He said the city of Babylon would become an uninhabited ruin. Babylon, the jewel of kingdoms, the glory of the Babylonians' pride, will be overthrown. She will never be inhabited or lived through in all generations. And this happened. Just about all other ancient capitals are still lived in to this day, but not Babylon. Many of the ruins, including the blue gates of Ishtar that Nebuchadnezzar made, were taken away and now reside in a museum in Germany. The promise to Egypt was different. It would remain inhabited, but be the lowest of nations, never to rule the world again. The prophecies of Babylon and Egypt are both amazingly accurate. What about Israel? God said he would scatter the Jews from one end of the earth to the other. They would become a thing of horror, a byword, and an object of ridicule among all the peoples where the Lord would drive them. But the prophecies get more specific. In the end times, God would bring them back to the land. The photo shows the Exodus ship in 1947 as some come back. Let's look at what's happening today. Revelation 16 tells us that the armies of the earth, meaning around Israel, and the whole world beyond, will gather. Let's read it. "The sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and I saw 3 unclean spirits coming out of the mouths of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, to the kings of the earth and the whole world, to assemble them for the battle of the great day of God. And they assembled the kings in the place that in Hebrew is called Armageddon." So the call for war goes out from the area of where the Euphrates River is, areas like Syria, Iraq, Iran. It's where the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet are. The armies are gathered to Armageddon with a reminder of the Hebrew meaning. Armageddon, in fact, means mountain of Megiddo. We read about this same battle in Zechariah 12, and it also mentions Megiddo. "I will make Jerusalem a cup of drunkenness to all the surrounding peoples. Judah will be besieged, as well as Jerusalem. On that day the mourning in Jerusalem will be as great as the mourning of Hadad Rimmon in the plain of Megiddo." The battle is at Jerusalem, but the mourning will be as great as Megiddo. A crucial point in Israel's history. It's where the Egyptian army killed King Josiah. From that time on, Israel came under foreign rule, first a vassal state to Egypt, then under Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, and the Romans, and then they were scattered from their land. Megiddo is a reminder that Israel will again have an army like a mountain assembled against them. This army will be beaten by the return of Jesus when Israel cry out for him. And as the beloved disciple said, quoting Zechariah, "They will look on the one whom they have pierced," Jesus. As soon as Jesus returns, Israel is dwelling securely, never again to be defeated. There are 2 wars in close succession: a holy Arab war, followed by the attack of the other nations, a war of greed. Joel 3 talks about the first war. "Proclaim this among the nations, prepare for war." The word prepare means sanctify, as in holy war, which is how some versions translate it. Sanctify a war. The Holman version actually says, "Prepare for holy war." And indeed, this is the cry going out from the jihadist groups in the Middle East, who hope to liberate the Palestinians and raise their own flag over Jerusalem. Headlines like this from an Iranian general are common. "I myself will hoist the flag of the Islamic Revolution in Jerusalem." Joel identifies some of the nations who fight against Israel as Tyre and Sidon, which is Lebanon, Philistia, which is Gaza, and Egypt and Edom. Edom are the descendants of Esau, who have harbored a perpetual hatred against Israel. Ezekiel 28 talks of coming judgment. They, Israel, will dwell securely when I execute judgments on all their neighbors who have treated them with contempt. This is talking about the Arabs. Following closely on the holy war is one of greed. The armies of Ezekiel 38 come for a spoil, maybe for the gas fields. They say, "I will come against a tranquil people who dwell securely, all of them living without walls or bars or gates, in order to seize the spoil and carry off the plunder." These are the kings beyond the Euphrates, but by the time they attack, Jesus has already returned, saving Israel from the Arabs. And from the moment his feet touch the ground, Israel dwells in safety. No army on earth can defeat the rightful king of the world. The defeat of this second army, which attacks Jerusalem and Jesus, will be swift and decisive. It's spoken of in Psalm 2. The kings of the earth take their stand, and the rulers together, against the Lord and against his anointed. The one enthroned in the heavens laughs. He rebukes them in his anger and terrifies them in his fury. I have installed my king on Zion, my holy hill. The future is already written. Jesus is coming back. The best is still ahead for those who seek God and follow Jesus. For more information and a book explaining Revelation, go to the web link.